He's so fucking pissed already.
So, what are we talking about? Alice? All right, go.
Oh, for God's sakes, with the Alice.
About Alice? All right, go.
Oh, for God's sake.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Noon, Greg Narlo, and Lou Maddox.
All right. Welcome to Rat Salad Review. It's been a while. Catman's already here. Man, he's just on the ball, man. He knows
What's up, Catman?
Roll the GD intro, as Catman says.
Yeah. But yeah, welcome back. We just had to take a little break. Everybody was going to shows. Al had a show to go to. I think Manny went to a show. Lou went to a show. Andy, you went to a show too, I believe.
Kind of.
Yeah. But everybody's been doing something, so we're back.
Finally.
Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Shows.
What's that?
Well, you said we're all doing something. Oh, yeah, drugs. But you meant concerts.
Everybody's doing something except for this show.
Well, I've been
We're
doing a lot of
supposed to be
Tylenol
dedicated.
lately. I'm pregnant. Well, just
Oh,
kidding.
God.
Oh. We're not going to talk about that bullshit.
Topical.
We're not going to talk about that low.
We mock topical stuff. We're about the music on the show.
Why is everyone talking about Tylenol? What am I missing here?
Nothing?
You're not
Let's
missing
just,
anything.
We'll tell you.
We'll talk about it after the
Nothing.
show.
We'll talk
You're
about it
not
after the
missing
show.
anything. Okay. You're not. All right.
Just make sure you take plenty of it.
Actually,
Honestly, I really don't know.
You are better off. You're better off.
Okay.
I have a kid with severe autism. So the fact that, forget it. I'm not going to talk about it. It'll just piss me off.
Don't worry about it.
In that case, let's talk about
No,
Let's
no,
talk
no,
about Van Halen. Is Van Halen 3 and Van Halen's A Different Kind of Truth, the last two Van Halen albums. And I'm glad.
Where's Greg? This is his fucking idea.
Who cares? He's working.
You could have waited another minute before dropping an F-bomb, Manny.
It's all right. It is what it is.
All right.
Who cares? What was that little special edition of the volume 3 you got?
Yeah, the belly and the cannon were covered.
Oh, it's the
the tin.
It's the tin can version.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
So it's like open it up. It's like a tin can.
Right, yeah.
It's got the CD. It's got. Could use it as an ashtray.
You know, whatever the
Well,
contents are.
Did it come with a little thing of toilet paper so that you clean all the shit out of
A
it?
guitar pick.
I was gonna say, throw the contents out, pack it with cigarettes. You'd be better
A
off.
sticker, cards. It's all sorts of cards and shit in here. So
Very exciting.
you know, I
look like
was such a Van Halen. I'm such a Van Halen freak. I had to spring for the special edition, even of this album when it came out.
Get your own Van Halen trading cards. Sunday. Sorry, couldn't help it.
It comes in a tin can. You put everything in there.
Wow.
Did they ever release that on vinyl?
No, there's unofficial versions out there, but not officially. I think this is out of print too. You can't. I mean, it's
You could stream it. I don't know if it's possible to purchase it.
That's used everywhere and every
Yeah,
record
dude,
Oh,
you
you
can
can
find
find you can find a used no problem.
I mean, if you can't find it in the used bin, you're not looking hard enough.
Yeah, no, it's everywhere.
Here's the CD there.
Oh, that is cool the way that looks.
Yeah, the CD
Looks
different.
cool.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound
Nice
There's-
little present.
There's the cover there.
cool. Okay.
I think I first saw that on
That's the back,
on a bubble tape commercial.
a bubble tape.
and it's
Yeah.
it's like it's like one of those Japanese obies, except it's not a Japanese version, but it's just
Oh.
kind of like slides over the CD.
Yeah.
Right.
So nobody gets offended with the guy.
Got,
No
I
BI.
got this one too, which was a radio promo actually. By
Oh,
the you can see by the sticker there. You know,
Andy, control your cats.
nothing,
I
nothing-
tried.
nothing really different about that.
You ain't doing nothing.
Even
I
the
was-
cat doesn't like Van Halen.
I don't have the vinyl of this, and I wish I bought it when it came out because that shit goes for a lot of money now, man.
Me too, dude. I want that vinyl.
I do too. Why don't they?
Why
Why haven't they reissued those two fucking albums on vinyl? Excuse me.
They will.
Those two freaking albums.
We're way
Freaking.
past it. We're past it. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I have no idea.
What's-
It
What's the
sold
problem?
quite
What's the
well,
problem?
too, so.
What's the problem with cursing? Is this a Christian channel or something?
It's not that, but if you curse within the first 2 minutes of any
Oh,
show,
okay, gotcha.
Then why the hell
monetization
did you
gets
invite
lost.
me on the show to be on the first
because
2
we
minutes?
thought
And
you could control yourself, you troglodyte.
You knew I couldn't control myself.
Well, try.
Fuck. Anyway, continue.
Hey, before we get to the topic at hand,
Yeah. Oh Christ.
50 fucking years old today, bro.
Mm.
50 years old.
And I
Man.
love that album the older I get.
All right. We got the US version. We
Oh,
got
boy.
the Canadian anthem version. We got the remastered version.
Whoa.
We got the remaster of the remaster. No, I'm just kidding.
And what's the difference?
We got the archives, which includes the 3 albums on there. Look at that, huh?
I just
Huh?
saw that the other day. I was gonna grab it, but I
You
didn't.
should grab this, man.
I should have. I really should
If
have.
you
Why
get
did
it,
you
if you
grab
get,
it?
if you get it for a good price, man. They
Why
go for
didn't I-
some money.
Why
That's
didn't I
a great
grab
album.
it?
I absolutely love side 2. Man, side 2.
Not to like, I like that whole album. See, I didn't
Yeah,
say
good
fuck.
album.
Are you happy, Lou? But I like
I
that whole
don't
album.
care. We're past it by this
All
point.
right,
Manny.
sorry. That was my
But-
little rush moment there, so we
That-
can go on.
Necromancer is one of their best songs, and it was a pleasure to see Dream Theater play that live.
They
Was
played
that at Jones
live?
Beach?
Yes, it was. I
You
was
were at
there.
that show?
I was like, they're playing Rush.
You were at that show, I guess, huh?
Yes, I was.
I wish I was at that one.
I think I just got my dog barking. Sorry, Wishes.
I always hated trekking out to Jones Beach, man.
I hate. That's okay. I hate trekking out to PNC.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the same shit for you, man.
well, I mean, seeing Ozfest there was cool, but you know what the biggest hassle was? Seeing a concert there, the Doobie Brothers with Chicago. So I got one of those like fold up chairs from Dick's. Yes, I said Dick's. And you know, it's bigger than your normal average beach chair because I'm bigger than your average normal guy. So the security guard was like, "Excuse me, sir, you can't sit in that chair. It doesn't fit the dimensions. You're gonna have to sit on the grass."
Oh my god.
So like I'm
That
sitting on the
doesn't make
grass and everyone's like, "Can you move your head down?" I'm like, "Did this motherfucker just down in front of me? I'm gonna slap him." And I said, "You know what? Screw you, boomers. I'm going home." Thankfully, I didn't have to pay much for the ticket. But Chicago was great. So were the Doobies. So
Yeah, I saw the Doobies with Al. All right,
Alice
I'm gonna show
Cooper?
this-
No, with me.
oh,
Yeah,
just
I'm
as
going to
cool.
show this because I won't get to mention this guy. But look, who it is? It's Alice. There he
Oh,
is in
yeah.
action figure form from Mego.
Oh, I thought
And,
it was Wednesday Adams after a sex change. Who is that?
That's Mr. Cooper for you guys. There you go. I didn't think I'd find a way to slide him into this episode, so I did in the beginning.
Speaking
Here,
of sliding in,
Here,
happy
Manny,
birthday.
Here, Manny, I found this shirt at a thrift shop.
Dude, I'm wearing a Jimmy shirt.
That's right.
Speaking of
Fuck
sliding
yeah.
in, happy belated birthday to David Coverdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He slid it into Tawny Katane, so I'll salute that.
Everybody slid it into Tawny Katane. Wayne slid it
Not
into
me.
Tawny Katane.
Did I?
Not me.
Not yet, anyway.
Well, she's
Yeah,
dead,
no,
Wayne.
she's-
Forget it.
Well, Manny,
Jesus
Manny
Christ.
doesn't care.
Wow.
Manny does not care. He doesn't discriminate whether they're dead or alive. Van Halen 3. I remember when this album came out, and we have yet again changed vocalists, and I found out that it was Gary Sharon from Extreme. I was like, oh, really? Because I hate Extreme. You know, I really never liked Extreme. I hated when they came on Headbangers Ball. It's like, why is this on Headbangers Ball? It's garbage. But I got the album. I put it on. Yeah, I love that first single, by the way, that they released. What is the name of it? Off the top of my head?
Without You.
Without You.
Without You. Yes, thank you. I love that single. I thought it was really good, and I thought Gary's voice really worked with Van Halen. I was like, all right, this song is pretty cool. I hope the rest of the album is going to be that way. And I kind of actually do like the album, but it's not even like the Sammy Hagar era Van Halen. It's not, and definitely ain't the David Lee Roth Van Halen era, but it's its own thing. And I think we mentioned in chat, I think Stan, you mentioned in the chat, it almost sounds like a Eddie Van Halen solo album.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a glorified Eddie project, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it sounds like. But I think it's really cool. I think there's some good songs on there, there's some bad songs, but overall, it's a decent album. It's I wouldn't say you have to own it. It's just kind of there kind of thing. But there are some good songs on there, and there are some. Oh shit! Where the hell's my thing here? I had the thing up here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There you go.
Some duds.
There are some duds. Let me see. Dirty Water Dog is a pretty dud song. Year to the Day. Oh no, Year to the Day I actually liked. But that song that Eddie actually sang, How Many Say I? I think that's the one he sang. He should never sing. Who told him he could sing?
That would be Mike Post, the producer.
Well,
Which we are going to talk about Mike Post too, by the way, for sure.
What about Mike Post? Because I don't even know what did he do besides this?
The X-Files theme song.
Television.
Not just the X-Files. He Hill Street Blues. Yeah,
It was a TV
NYPD
theme
Blue.
show. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, for a particular production company, mostly shows produced out of ABC News and ABC and NBC when there were only 3 networks. Mike Post does not have a rock background. Mike Post has never produced a rock band, and so you talk about a guy that was completely out of his element with Mike Post, for sure. He's older than those guys. As a matter of fact, he just turned 80 years old this year. His first big hit was the Rockford Files theme song, believe it or not. He was the musical director to the Andy Williams show. So we're talking about a guy. Yes. We're talking about a guy who has no background in heavy metal, hard rock, actually just rock music in general.
And how songs.
Yeah.
So how did they what are you showing? Because I'm looking at something else.
Oh, this is the Mike Post greatest hits, which has different TV things like Hill Street Blues.
Does it have How Many Say I on it?
Andy, you're the only person on earth who has that.
The Greatest American Hero.
He did the Greatest American Hero. No wonder I hate this album.
Yeah, it's called Television Theme Songs with Mike Post.
Boy, I can't wait not to buy that one.
I'm surprised, dude. I see this a lot.
Believe it or not, Lou,
you wasted all of your money. What?
Were you actually looking for that album, or you just happened to find it?
No, man. I go record shopping like every other weekend. I just pick up things that I find interesting, and I got a lot of TV stuff. So, I got like an episode of All in the Family on vinyl. It's pretty fun.
Well,
what?
It's like a Maxell sampler here.
What the hell is that?
Nothing but blank noise on both sides.
No, it actually has Triumph on here. It has Hall & Oates. Has Styx.
I didn't know Triumph was signed to Maxell. I don't
know. It's all right, man. It's like I don't know. I found it interesting, So.
Well, Mike Post. Pete Townsend
Andy, pick up your pants.
Too. Yeah, Andy, you're gonna get us kicked off YouTube.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it's already past the 2 minutes.
Yeah,
for indecent exposure.
And that stuff is for Pornhub, not for YouTube.
Yeah, he could show his wedding tackle on this show anyway.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
I'm wearing a short Van Halen shirt. Sorry.
But the Who Endless
Paul,
Wire.
Edit this out.
Actually, we just gained like 8,000 viewers. Holy shit.
Andy, show your just kidding.
Well,
I love you, man. I love you, dude.
Continue.
I mean,
I still couldn't find what I was looking for either. So
Neither could Bono. Oh,
anyway,
God damn it, Manny!
Pete Townsend wrote a song called the Mike Post theme on the last Who album that was just called The Who, and it's not.
I thought it was on Endless Wire.
Endless Wire was part of. Wait.
Yeah, it was on Endless Wire, which is the last. It was the album before the last album.
Because the last one's just called The Who.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Mike Post theme was on the Endless Wire.
Oh, it's on the. You're right.
Blowing down again.
A little. I remember that song, but that song is not a compliment to Mike Post. We'll just leave it at that. It's basically saying that the music is bland and unmemorable, and it's only fit for TV. So, my point about Mike Post is, the talent as he was, he should be producing a hard rock, heavy metal album, or even a rock album. I don't think he did a shit job considering, because I got a feeling Eddie Van Halen produced most of it. Anyway, that was my thing about Mike.
How did they-
Wayne, you never finished the review. Go
no,
ahead.
No, it's okay. But I wanted to know, like, who the hell Mike Post was. I had no idea. But how did they get in? How did they find out, like, or get him involved with doing the
He was
album?
friends with Eddie.
Lou?
Eddie wanted him. Eddie
Really?
just wanted him. He was just like, "Hey, why don't you produce the next record?" Did he consult Alex, or he wasn't going to consult Mike or Gary? Because
Yeah.
as far as we all know, Gary was a hired gun, and well, we all know what he thought about Michael.
Yeah.
But no, and Alex kind of just said, "Your show, man." So that's pretty much how it went.
Very interesting. But yeah, no, I'm pretty much done. But I do like the album. I've listened to it. I didn't listen to it this week because I already listened to it. I don't need to listen to it again. And it was actually funny because when I listened to it when we were supposed to do the show last week, I almost remembered every single song. And usually when an album sucks, you just kind of forget it. But I remembered every song on here because I do like them, even though they're not great Van Halen songs. They're decent. So, Andy, what about you?
Yeah, when this album came out in 1998, I was totally in a whole different time frame and a whole different kind of music at that time. I was listening to a lot of 90s music. So when I heard that Van Halen was coming out with a new album with Gary Sharon, first of all, I don't even like Extreme. Then I was like, golly, really? Because this was already 98. It was kind of a forgotten band at that time, especially in that music landscape that was going on. So I did get it. And I hated it. I hated it. Boy, did I hate it. And I thought that maybe, it's been about over 20 years that I've heard it. I thought maybe, I've grown up, I've matured, hate it even more. This was terrible. I just couldn't stand to hear it. There was no there was no reason for this album. There was nothing that stuck together.
Cohesion.
Everything was just thrown in there. There's no order whatsoever. Nothing makes sense. It's just a big mess. And I hate to say that because I absolutely love Van Halen. But this was just a huge disappointment for me. And we were talking about this last night on Black Spinner. Gary Sharon just has a different way of singing. He's a funk rock singer. This dude does not fit at all with his band. The melodies were off. Eddie's solos were great, but they didn't match the music. It just didn't gel for me at all. And I'm not going to go track by track because I was going to say, what should I say for each song? I can't. And I love doing album reviews. I love talking about music. I don't want to go through these songs at all.
I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain.
I'm no expert, but I'm going to guess that Andy may not like this album.
Yeah. And I always try to find something in music, some kind of song, something that might draw me to hear it again. This gave me nothing to go back to.
It's a dreary, dark, depressing album. And it really doesn't have many Van Halen-esque things in it either.
No.
There's nothing that really says, oh, this is Van Halen, It's weird. But again, like I like it for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. Ow.
But that's my review on it.
All right, man. So I think what Andy was trying to say is it lacks cohesion, which I agree. There's good ideas on this album, but they're kind of like half-baked. Without, you could say what you want about Dave or Sammy, but at least they kind of, I think they had that power to kind of edit songs to help Eddie like kind of edit them, or Ted Templeman too, kind of would help. Mike, like Manny was saying, Mike Post is not a rock producer. I think he did Classical Gas too, by Mason Williams. I think he produced that song as well, which is a very old song. But anyway, But yeah, he's not a rock producer, so he was completely the wrong producer. I think the sound of the album is not good. I don't know. The drums just sound like they're cardboard to me. It turns out like Alex didn't even play drums on the album. It was Eddie that did the drums.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Mike
know that.
Mike Mike only played bass on 3 songs. Eddie
Hmm.
played bass on the rest of the album. So in essence, it really is an Eddie Van Halen solo album. I mean, let's just get that out of the way now. It is, and that's how I looked at it. I always kind of looked at it that way. Yeah, it's such an anomaly in the Van Halen discography. It's just like Wayne, like you were saying, it's its own thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
Um, when I heard that Gary Shaw was gonna, and now I like Extreme, but when I heard Gary singing on this album, I just thought he was singing out of his range. Like they told him to sing like Sammy Hagar because he tries to sound like him on there.
Yeah.
Gary's voice, like if you listen to the Extreme album, it sounds more smooth and kind of more natural. On here, it just sounds strained, and I don't know, like the way his vocals are produced, it sounds off. Like Andy was saying, like the melodies are off, and it just doesn't sound right on this album for some reason. So I always thought his vocals sound very strange on this album. Um, there's like real no bottom end on this album, really. There's not, like I said, the drums sound like cardboard. The bass doesn't sound it's not all there, really.
Speaking
Um,
of bottom end, Andy, Joe,
oh,
You're gonna start that again, Stan? Come on.
oh man.
Sorry, Al. Go ahead.
No, it's cool. I don't know why Eddie sang a song on here. Like he's good at blending with Michael Anthony and the background vocals, but as a lead vocalist, no, I
Blame
don't.
Mike Post. Blame Mike Post. That was
Yeah.
his idea.
Um, but I will say this: I don't completely hate the album. There's a couple, I maybe two or three pretty good songs on here. I did like "Without You." Like when I first came out, I was like, oh, it's a pretty good lead single. Kind of sounds Van Halen-ish a bit, you know. I think the closest to a Van Halen sound song on here is "Fire in the Hole." I mean, it's got a good Eddie riff on there. Um, I don't know, man. Everything else, Dirty Water Dogs, musically, it's got a good groove to it. I like it, but I don't know, the lyrics and the singing, it just completely destroys it for me. It just, and I think that song was an old song. I think that was a song, I think Eddie jammed that riff on Saturday Night Live. I think it was called Stomping 8H. It was kind of like kind of a work in pro. I think it's just a jam that he came up with when he made an appearance on Saturday Night Live. So I think he took that music and actually made it this song. Because if you go back, you can go back on YouTube and find this where he's jamming on Saturday Night Live, and you could hear like the riffs from this song in there. Um, I don't know what else on here, man. It's just once was kind of an experiment, like a kind of an electronic experiment, and I didn't find that song to be too bad. I kind of like that. I kind of like that experiment that Eddie did. Again, the song was half baked though, too long, but I like kind of the idea of what he was doing. Now, I mean, listen, if he would have slapped the name Eddie Van Halen on the album instead of Van Halen, I think this album would be looked at in a different light, you know. But because of just the Van Halen logo on there, then that's why people shit on it so much, you know.
Yeah,
So,
just think about other guitar heroes who have albums with their own name. It's a little experimental or a little bit outside
yeah,
of the regular band.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else, man? I like Primary where that little instrumental where he's on what was that, a sitar or no, not a sitar. Lou, help me out here.
Dulcimer.
I think it was a
Was it a sitar
sitar.
or
Was
a
it a
dulcimer?
dulcimer?
Oh,
where
dulcimer might have been a dulcimer, right?
Maybe Manny might be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Like he kind of went back to kind of doing little intros to songs. Ballad of the, it goes into Ballad of the Bullet, which is pretty rocking. But again, I don't know. It just the melody of the song and the lyrics kind of throws it off. It's a mess, man. It just I think if these songs were kind of had a better producer and kind of somebody that kind of edit Eddie a little bit, because this was all Eddie's. Like this was his it, it, it just goes to show you that he kind of needs that strong personality to help him write. I think you can say what you want about Sammy, but at least the Sammy era, the songs were more condensed and they were more Especially and
Songs
Dave.
weren't-
Yeah, they were songs. You know what I mean? So this was just kind of I and it was an interview with Gary. He wishes that they would I went out and toured first to kind of gel as a touring unit and then go in and do an album, which I tend to agree with him. I think they would have gelled better as a unit. Maybe would have been a better album. And one more thing, I think when I heard that Gary Sharon was in it, this was 2 years removed from the whole MTV debacle when Dave came back and they did the two new songs on. I think that just kind of got people so excited that when I blew up, there was just so much disappointment that Dave wasn't back. I think it just backfired on them, man. That I think a lot of those people just were like, "Fuck Van Halen, I'm not buying them with another singer and shit." So. And I think to this day, I think this album only went gold, and that was it. So that's my take on it. Whoever wants to take it away.
By the way, Al, it was electric sitar. So you
Hmm.
were right. You're right. I
Okay.
just looked it up. It's.
Okay.
Thought it was a sitar.
Stan, how about Stan?
All right. So I agree with the other guys. I feel like for the most part, I do not like the way the songs are arranged. It feels clunky, and there's just it's not as condensed. It's not as tight, and there's just like some of these songs are just too long. Everything's just like too bloated. Um, Sharon's vocals do absolutely nothing for me at all. Like
Ever.
like I can appreciate the emotional intensity that he brings to the songs, but there's like no memorable vocal lines. So like I just so the vocal lines like are not just aren't as catchy.
And I
Uh
don't think that, and then just to cut in, I don't think that's any fault of his either. I think it was just the way Eddie was dictating to him how to do this
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
You
I'm
know what I
I'm
mean?
pretty
So,
sure.
I think some of the choruses were though. I think actually the choruses were the best part of the albums. It's just getting to those choruses.
Yeah.
It just is like
I mean, he
didn't
sounds
make
good in
sense.
extreme,
yeah,
so
I agree.
but here is just I don't know, it just didn't do much for me. I mean, Without You, I like it. I like that song, but it's just like buried in excess. Like there's just it's too long, like you could have cut down like 2 minutes of it. And the other song that I like is Josephina, because it kind of reminds me of the beat of like the Beatles. It's a very like Beatles influenced kind of tune, layered harmonies and stuff like that. It's kind of it's musically quirky. So I like that one, and that's about it. I mean, that last song with Eddie singing is just I don't know, like Manny summed it best. That's pretty much the best way to describe that. But yeah, Without You, it's pretty decent. And Josephina for me is really cool. And but that's about it. I mean, and again, it's just if they found a way to just like maybe had tighter arrangements, it'll definitely make a huge difference. But alas, that just did not happen. So that's all I got.
Manny.
All right.
Whose TV is on, by the way?
Not mine.
Not mine.
Andy watching the damn games.
Probably. All right, Van Halen 3. So I got to start with what Al brought out.
I knew it.
My cat opened up the door more. This fucking guy over here.
Cat.
Is your cat's name DGAF?
Huh? No? Why?
Don't give
No?
a
Because he
fuck.
just doesn't give a fuck.
No, no.
That's what he wants.
That cat pays the
every-
bills there.
That's every cat, man. That's every cat. So okay, I got to start with where Al started, the MTV reunion, and I bought Van Halen Best Of with David Lee Roth, and those two songs were awesome. You Can't Get That Stuff Anymore, and Me Wise Magic. And they even had the producer Glenn Ballard, dude, who produced Alanis Morissette. And the way that he had David Lee Roth double his vocals with Michael Anthony to hit that high part, that was genius. And DLR said that took a long time to do. It wasn't something that came natural to sing like that, you know. And I thought, my God, Eddie Van Halen's on fire. He's got his original vocalist back, and then it blew up. That was it. I was very disappointed because I remember MTV even had an ad where they had David Lee Roth dancing, and he's with the Welcome Back Carter tune, and it was over before it even began. There was, you know. Anyway, fast forward. They said they hired Gary Sharon. I like Extreme. I'm not sure what I think of this, but it makes sense because he wants a serious vocalist like Sammy Hagar. I think David Lee Roth is a great singer, but I'm in the minority. Most people did not, you know, but they're wrong because he's a good singer. I buy the album the first day it comes out. I can't wait to hear it. I heard Without You. I didn't really care for it. What bothered me is why did they bother hiring someone else if they're just going to have the new singer ape Sammy Hagar? That made no sense to me, really. You know, the product. I'm not sure if the production's the problem or the arrangement or just the songs sound like uncompleted. At the time, I didn't know that Michael Anthony or Alex Van Halen fairly played on it. I didn't know that at the time. Matter of fact, songwriting credits give credit to the entire band, which of course is not true now that we know that. It just sounds like Mike Post was so excited to work with somebody of Eddie Van Halen's caliber and to be working with a hard rock heavy metal band, because that's what they were considered, that he was probably like, you know, no, do whatever you want. We'll work it out. I don't think he knew how to arrange a hard rock song. The songs are too long. The songs don't have any real direction. And it's very easy to point the finger at Gary Sharon because he's a new guy. My problem with Gary Sharon is the vocals are too much like Hagar and the lyrics are atrocious. They're trying to be serious, but they're not really hitting the mark. Year to the Day, Bullet or the Ballad or the Bullet. I think he's trying to be a Tom Waits or a Bob Dylan, and nobody is interested in that for Van Halen, you know. So I don't. Overall, I kind of like the album because I like the fact that experimental. But I think the songs are half baked, incomplete, or maybe it's the production, or maybe it's just a terrible album. I think as a musician, and I'm looking forward to Lou's assessment of this, because I'm a guitar player, but I'm not a guitar player as Lou's caliber. So I'm looking forward to your review of this, Lou. But if I listen to it strictly from a guitar point of view, it's fascinating. But if I'm looking at it song-wise, that dog doesn't hunt. So it's an interesting album to listen to, but it's not very memorable. All right, Lou, I think you're up.
Before I do that, though, I want to introduce everyone to my new baby. So I traded one of my Strats for this beautiful Epiphone SG.
Nice.
Oh,
And
nice.
I actually recorded some Severed Angel stuff with it. So I can't wait for you to hear that in
Nice.
a year and a half. But
Nice.
you know, okay. Well, Manny, first of all, I appreciate the praise, but I'm just a hobbyist musician. No,
You're a great
He's
guitar
not
player.
that good, Manny. Don't.
No, he
Wayne,
is.
you're fired.
Lou,
right,
you can ask Al. If I thought you were a shit guitar player, I would tell you. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so like you guys, you know, I was so excited about Van Halen Best of Volume 1, the two songs that they did with Roth, production wise, songwriting wise, performance wise. You know, I was just like, my band's back, and I'm not an extreme fan, but I'm not an extreme hater. You know, I mean, I think Nuno Betancourt is probably one of the best guitar players alive today, and if you question that, watch his performance at Back to the Beginning, because he was smoking that day. And I think Gary is a very good singer, but you know, his thing is funk rock or funk metal. You know, like it makes more sense for Extreme to go on tour with a band like King's X, who have a song like Black Flag that kind of fits with what, you know, the guys in Extreme are doing. More so that than the band that they ended up taking out with them on this tour, which was Creed. Now,
it was Creed.
Yes, it was Creed for one leg. There was also Shine Down, and there was
Kenny Wayne Shepherd, I believe.
it wasn't Shine Down, but you're right. It was Kenny Wayne Shepherd. It was Creed, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and
Our Lady Peace.
yes. Thank you. Another band that I really liked.
I do like Our Lady
I,
Peace.
I wish that they had toured with Gary prior to the recording of this album, just to test the waters out. Because I will say this: if you watch some of the video footage with Gary singing the old Van Halen songs, my God, like it was just so good to hear them being performed, and the fact that Eddie could still rip. Not that there was any question if Eddie could rip, but still played those songs with a fury and a passion. Now, Mike Post should have never produced this album because he's not a rock producer. Now, does that mean that I fault them for experimenting? No, it's possible that they could have come up with something great. In my opinion, they didn't. I really don't know that many people that think that this is a good album. I've never heard anyone say the words, my favorite Van Halen album is Van Halen 3. And if you listen to this album, you'll know why. Now, this album made me appreciate the Sammy Hagar years. And I will say this. If you're not a Sammy fan, and if you quote the Bad Religion album, how could hell be any worse? Listen to Van Halen 3. You'll know how hell could be a lot worse. When the song Without You came out, at the time I was 18 years old, and I liked it, but I was like, but it has a flow problem. It doesn't flow. Like a song like Humans Being, that song flowed because it had great dynamics. Like it built up, slowed down, and built up again, and just slapped you in the face and like you were a redheaded stepchild. I don't care if that offends any redheaded stepchildren out there. When I listen to Without You now, I'm like, what the hell were they thinking? Because it's like, it doesn't sound like a completed song. It just sounds like somebody took a catapult, threw paint on a wall, and said, okay, someone take a picture. We got a painting. That's what it felt like. The only other song on this album I like is Fire in the Hole. Not because of the Lethal Weapon 4 reference, but because I think it's a great riff, and it's probably the one lyric that doesn't make me cringe. Meanwhile, you hear a song like One I Want, blind man, pizza man, white man, black. It's like, gee, man, give me a break is what I think when I hear that. Once was just never again. That's all I got to say about that song. Josephine. Okay, so Wayne knows how I feel about the 70s and 80s bands who were all about like the great rock and hit you and then make out like a Screaming Bandit type albums that they came out with. And I love a lot of 90s music, especially like the independent metal bands like Iced Earth and Typo Negative and this and that. But I really started to resent like the classic artists who felt like, oh, all of a sudden they had to get introspective. They had to get like, we're more than what we used to be. I'm like, guys, your first album came out 20 years ago. I don't think you trying to get introspective now is genuine at all. And unfortunately, to me, there's nothing genuine about this album. If I were to say it in French, Van Halen toi es Pepe Le Pew. That's the best way I could put it. Fromage, really bad fromage.
So what you're saying, you don't like it?
It's okay.
No,
I'm sorry. I tried to give this album a chance, but I was crying in my car going, when is this shit over?
How about as a guitar player though, Lou? Did you find anything he was doing in there interesting? Not songwriting wise, just the guitarist.
Well, the use of the trans trem and the use of the what was it he has in the neck pickup, the
Drop D. No,
not the D-Tuna, although I think the D-Tuna is a great invention. I have a D-Tuna on my Strat. No, it's the Sustainiac pickup.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like I love that tone, but again, the problem is at the time he was still using PV 5150s. I'm not crazy about the sound of that. Manny, I know you're asking me about more of his technique than his sound.
Right.
The problem was again, like the songs and the songwriting, it just wasn't cohesing. It sounded like it was like the three songs that he wrote with Sammy when he came back prior to the reunion tour in 2004. It's
Well,
like he
those
just
songs are shit.
yeah,
Anyway.
it's like he just did it just to do it. You know? Oh, by the way, not sure if many of you know this, but after that failed reunion, Eddie scored 2 songs for an adult film soundtrack. I'd rather listen to those 2 songs than this album, and those 2 songs are not good at all. And it's just him on it.
He was in a bad time in his life.
Yeah,
though.
I was going to ask was
What?
I know when they did those 3 songs.
That was 2004. So yeah, this album is pretty much like the beginning of the fall of Eddie. You know, because in 2001 he actually came to our neck of the woods, mine and Wayne's, to Smithtown for cancer treatment.
Right.
And you know, he had already had like I think it was a third of his tongue removed, but he was still drinking wine and he was still smoking like 3 packs a day. Valerie just left him. He was still
a
on
mess on that 2004 tour, man.
yeah, like this and if you watch that interview that he did on the Howard Stern show,
Oh yeah, yeah.
he was bonkers. He was like, I was like, this is Eddie Van Halen. I'm like, he looks like he's acting like he has a chemical imbalance. Little did we know, he did, because all that stuff can't be good for you, especially the way he was doing it. You know, so
I think to jump in, Lou. I think the failure of this album and I think the way it all went down at the end, like that was the beginning of the tailspin of Eddie. I think because I think he because I've read interviews around the time of this album when it come out, and Eddie was very, very into it. Like he was very like, you got to give the album a chance. Like we're doing different stuff on here. He was. And he's playing on the tour he was on fire, bro. I thought he sounded great on the tour.
yeah, he
I,
was.
I saw that show at MSG with Creed opening, and then I saw them later on in the summer. I saw them down in Atlantic City, and that had Kenny Wayne
Lady Peace.
Shepherd
Oh, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Okay.
So I saw them twice on this tour, and it was great. It was great to hear the old shit again, like Gary doing like the old stuff, because I think he let Gary pick the set list.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a great job picking the song. So
I don't want to spend too much time on the album because I know Wayne wants to move along. But real quick, I just want to mention I think that when you're recording an album as opposed to playing the songs live, live, you could extend a song to however long you want, as long as the crowd's getting into it. But it's like anything. If within the 3 seconds a song doesn't capture you, you skip on to the next one. I could appreciate that Eddie felt like, the walls finally came down, but let's face it. The reason why the Van Halen albums prior to it worked wasn't just because of Eddie's talent. It was also whoever produced them. It was also a singer who, as much as I hate to admit it about Sammy, was able to formulate something that worked as presentable to be put on an album. Van Halen 3 didn't have that. And it pains me to say that because I think all the musicians on it are talented. But for the record, even if you had replaced Gary with Mitch Malloy, this album still would not be good. So it's definitely not Gary's fault. And anyone who faults him can jump off a cliff.
One more thing too. The reason why Gary got put into here was because Ray Daniels was managing them at the time, who also managed Extreme. That's why that's the whole connection why Gary got in here, I think, because of Ray Daniels, and that's the whole reason why Sammy got ousted because of Ray Daniels. He didn't like Ray Daniels, and there was a whole fucking controversy with him and shit. So
and unfortunately, his meal ticket had gone on hiatus by that point. And what was his meal ticket? Rush.
Yeah, but Rush was like at that point. Rush, the whole tragedies happened with them, so that was on hold.
Right.
So
But Ray still needed to get paid, so he put
Mhm.
2 and 2 together, and 2 and 2
Yep.
made 5 because it didn't work.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really learning a lot about this album because a lot of this stuff I didn't know, especially the mind frame and the physical. Um, oh, geez,
Yeah, Eddie went into a tailspin after
yes,
this album,
I
man.
didn't know all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That 2004 tour, which I didn't go to that
Oh, that
tour. I
tour.
was supposed to go to it, and I didn't go. And from all accounts and video that I saw, he was just a fucking mess, dude.
He looked so
He
disheveled. It
was
was
so
sad.
fucked up. Yeah, it
Yeah, because
was.
I was telling my wife, I go, he looks weird because he was just pretty much chain smoking, like constantly up there,
Yeah,
and just not really paying attention to the
doing
vocals.
meth and all that shit.
It was just nuts. You see
Yeah,
that right there? I didn't know that either.
yeah,
But he looked bad.
yeah.
Poor
That makes
guy,
me want
man.
to have a cigarette, guys. Anyway,
Mm.
Go
continue.
ahead.
All right.
All right. After this, in 2004, they released one of the best of albums, and then they did 2 new songs with Sammy Hagar.
3.
3 new songs, sorry.
Yeah.
And it completely changed like the guitar tone and everything. It was terrible. They were like really garbage songs. Did anybody like
Shit.
those?
Fuck
Yeah,
no.
no.
I wouldn't think so.
I didn't
I
pay
thought
attention.
I
to
thought
this.
musically, the song "Up for Breakfast" was pretty cool, but the lyrics were fucking terrible, man.
Uh,
Yeah, that's when I realized that Sammy ain't singing about sex or food. He's got nothing to sing about.
Yeah.
But I like, but musically, I thought "Up for Breakfast" had potential. It had a good riff in it. Actually, it almost sounded like the Fire in the Hole riff, kind of recycled, if you really think about it.
Yeah, a little.
So
But Fire in the
anyway,
Hole's a
I don't
better
remember
song.
that song,
but yeah,
uh,
they were the lyrics were not. Like Lou said, man. I think they just fucking threw those songs together just to put something out, man.
they had to have because they were just terrible. I don't even remember them. They were so bad.
Yeah,
I don't
I just
remember 'em
remember the
either.
guitar tone. I just remember that guitar tone just being
it's
so
about
vocally
time. Up
and
for
heavy,
breakfast
like it's
and some other song. I don't remember.
yeah.
I mean, I don't even know the time signature on It's About Time. So that just goes to show you how bad that song is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they would finally get back with David Lee Roth. And
Thank
then,
sweet Jesus.
yeah, and
Thank God.
oh Manny, where are you?
Oh.
Yo, Manny, you think you're Rick James all of a sudden?
At the disco
Am I
tent.
ever?
I'm Manny
Anyway,
Mejias, bitch. I'm the
Uh,
baddest motherfucker alive. I'm sorry, Wayne. Go ahead.
But they started writing new songs, and then they went back and then they found a whole bunch of old demos and stuff like that, and they started reworking a lot of stuff. And then David Lee Roth came back in, and they worked on a new album, a different kind of truth. This is thankfully this is their last album because it sounds like Van Halen.
Great album.
This finally sounds like an album that we've been wanting for years and years since 1984. And I'm glad it was finally released. And there's some really good songs. Actually, the whole album's good. I like the whole entire album. Tattoo. I wasn't too crazy about that when it first came out as the first single, but it's grown on me. I really do like that song. But She's the Woman. That's really brings you back to like the old albums because even that
Classic.
chorus has that same classic sound as those old songs do. And Blood and Fire is kind of like a newer sounding tune, but it's got a great chorus. The whole album it's just really good. Stay Frosty, that brings you back to like Ice Cream
Ice Cream
Man
Man.
or whatever. Yep. And but it's just I never watched the DVD. Did anybody ever watch the DVD? It's got some
I have
Yeah.
I have a version with the CD DVD as well. It's not this one, but I do have another copy that has both.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's cool, man.
Yeah, my wife Erin bought me a copy of that for Valentine's Day in 2012 when it came out, and I still have it.
do too. But I never watched the DVD. I don't know why.
Again, I wish I bought the
These
vinyl.
DVDs.
I
I
think
do
you,
Yeah, me
too.
too. I didn't even know there was a vinyl.
I
Yeah.
think you could watch the videos on YouTube, Wayne. I think they
yeah.
are available.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But I think the vinyl wasn't it like an exclusive to some store.
I think it's a
only?
red
I think
vinyl.
it was to
Best Buy.
No, it
Best
wasn't
Buy, yeah, thank you.
Was it Best Buy? I was just reading about
I
it before.
I think so because
It was a red. I think it was a red vinyl as well.
Well, it
think-
makes sense. That's one of the color schemes on the album.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
But I do like the album, and I'm glad that it just sounds like old school Van Halen, and this is the album that they needed to have done years and years ago, and I'm glad that they were able to finally do it. But apparently, within the last maybe 3 years ago, we found out that David Lee Roth don't even like this album, and I guess the license agreements or whatever got ended, and then it got taken off streaming, and then there was a huge fight between Wolfgang and David Lee Roth about getting this back on, because David Lee Roth did not like this album and he didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore, didn't want people to hear it anymore, I guess. But I guess they finally, settled whatever, and the album's back up on streaming again. But just to hear that David Lee Roth didn't like this album, it's kind of shocking to me, because this is what Van Halen was. It sounded like this.
Not only that, he called out Wolfie on his Roth Show YouTube channel, referring to him as, I quote, unquote, this fucking kid. And unfortunately let a lot of dirt out about the final tour that they did in summer of 2015. Like, apparently that, Dave had some ladies that he brought backstage that apparently were working for the band, and Wolfgang said that they couldn't be there. And Dave apparently really resents him for that. I'm like, I don't know. It was an interesting soundbite, but I'm like, Dave, you didn't have to. Come on, it's let it go, buddy. Like Elsa and Anna, let it go.
Let it go. And this time he did want the brown M&Ms. He just didn't want the blue M&Ms.
I think Wolfgang put it best about the relationship between those two
You
men.
don't remember the brown M&M story?
I knew the brown M&Ms, but what about the blue M&Ms?
It was a joke. It was just a stupid joke I just had.
I don't think Dave's ever blue balled. Continue, Manny. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I think it's one of those things that Wolfgang diplomatically said the relationship with his father and him was complicated. Think about it. These two men, they formed this band that becomes this huge cultural thing. They're different as night and day. Basically, we're talking about a family fight, not a business fight. Money-wise, both of those guys are okay. We're talking about legacy. And I also think that David Lee Roth probably resents Sammy Hagar, because Sammy Hagar said some things about him that really were stupid, really stupid. Where David Lee Roth will make sarcastic comments, but he doesn't say much about Hagar. Keep in mind that David Lee Roth supposedly such a bad guy that when Michael Anthony and Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, grandson died.
Yep.
David Lee Roth anonymously donated $10,000. The only reason Michael Anthony knew is because he checked and he realized what management company. He contacted David Lee, and they didn't talk. And he said, yes, it was me, and we'll talk later. Of course, he never spoke. They never spoke. But apparently David Lee Roth does this kind of thing all the time, helps people out and doesn't talk about it. So for such a bad guy, he's really a decent human being.
Not to mention, he gave Michael Anthony his flowers in an interview. He said that it was because of Michael Anthony that they were able to really break out across fan bases, because while people call them heavy metal, and Dave's like, but we weren't. But Mike's presence and voice is what made us sound more Beach Boys, which helped us get over. He really gave Michael Anthony his flowers.
Still won't talk to him, though.
Well, I'm sure there's no water under the bridge. But, after all, if you read Noel Monk's book, Dave was one of the ones that said, stop paying Michael royalties. But I think when it comes to kids and the loss of lives, different story. Dave means well, so I'll give him that credit.
I think David Lee Roth, and I think maybe the resentment Wolfgang, this is all speculation, is that he never got the credit for the creative side that he should have. Eddie Van Halen's a genius. He's just the clown singer. And I think David Lee Roth helped shape not only the image of that band, but that sound of that band. They all did. All four of them did. That lineup is magic. But, all four of them did. But I think his melodies are better than he's given credit for. Anyway, that's completely off the tracks.
So we're deviating. Anyway. Let's back to the album.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention was this is the first album with out Michael Anthony. Wolfgang is playing bass on this. I think Wolf did pretty good. I didn't really miss Michael Anthony here at all. I mean, I guess though, because half of these songs were from demos anyway, so a lot of them probably his had his bass and stuff on it anyway. So, but Wolf was cool on here. I think it was good.
I agree. I agree. He
Yeah.
was great on.
Andy,
Yeah, a different kind of truth is a whole different kind of album from I'm from the third one. I absolutely love this album. I remember when it first came out, it stayed in my car for about a month. I played it constantly. I really think that having Wolfgang there really pushed Eddie
mm,
because Eddie's playing here is fantastic. It's very, I mean, these songs have um, are very cohesive. Thank you very much for that word, Al. But they jam, they rock. Eddie goes to different directions, but also keeps it together at the same time. I think Wolfgang helps a lot with that. I think maybe Roth didn't want this album to be streamed, probably because his voice sounds old on here, and it does sound old. But it's still David Lee Roth. It has his attitude, it has his personality, it has his writings, and it's fantastic. And I really hate it that this is Eddie Van Halen's last album before he died, because this is his last album. But to go out with him, Dave, his brother, and his son, just jamming on this album. I absolutely love this. I love Tattoo the first time it came out, and I still love Tattoo. I know a lot of these songs were older songs, but they were new to me. I'd never heard them before, so I
I
loved
never
it.
did either.
Tattoo is great. She's the woman reminds me of Van Halen too, big
Mm.
time. It's got Van Halen 2 written all over it. You and Your Blues, Chinatown. Chinatown's a badass song. I love the way it stops, and then and then David Lee Roth does his little bit. They go right back to just a hard rock sound. This is a really good hard rock album, and to come out in 2012 from
Yeah,
these guys,
there's no love songs on this album.
it's amazing.
What are you talking about? She's the Woman is a love song.
Well, you know
Gee,
what I mean. Not no Sammy Hagar love songs.
no,
Yeah,
because
this is
David Lee Roth likes
Van Halen.
vagina.
Bullet Head is another great track. Absolutely love it. As is Honey Baby Sweetie Doll is pretty good too. I mean, this whole thing is just a fantastic album. I'm so glad they did this. Last night we were talking on Black Spinner Circle about Aerosmith. Can they get together and just record a Aerosmith classic album? That's what Van Halen did here. They got together and they recorded a classic Van Halen album, and this should be talked about along with the other six. I think I think it's great.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I've never said this before, but I think it's better than any Sammy Hagar album. And that's because I love Sammy Hagar. I love 5150. I love OU812, and I love Balance. But this album is better. It's fire. The guitar playing is fantastic, and they're just jamming out, but it's restrained.
Mm.
And it's fantastic. There's nothing more else I can say about this album. I praise it. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, cool. And Al.
Yeah, man. When I was excited, man, when they first reunited with Dave in 2007, the whole press conference and everything, I was fucking beyond myself. I was like, yes, finally they're gonna go on tour and I'm gonna see them with Dave. Because again, originally I wanted to go to the 1984 tour. My older brother didn't get tickets. I still rib him to this day on that one. But finally, they were gonna come back. And initially I was disappointed that Michael wasn't back, man. Initially I kind of resented a little bit of Wolf, but as time went on, there would have never even been a Van Halen reunion with Dave if it wasn't for Wolf, man. So I mean, now I praise him. I'm like, I'm glad, And listen, man, as this and when that happened, I didn't have a son or a daughter yet. I only have one daughter, but now, like being a father and stuff, I can see why Eddie wanted to have his son in his band and play with him. It was probably a dream since Wolf was like a little kid, Because I remember on the Balance tour, he would bring Wolf out on stage, as a little kid and just kind of kick a ball around with him, And I think I remember I didn't see the 2004 tour, but he would come out in the 2004 tour and play a little guitar with him, like do the little intro to the solo, and then have Eddie would be kind of soloing over him. So like that whole father-son bond was started early, and I think it was just a dream to have Eddie have Wolfgang in the band. So I think if it to me now, like looking back, if it needed to sacrifice Michael, then yeah, I'm glad like they did it because we got one great album in this, you know. And if it wasn't for Wolfie, I think Wolf pushed Eddie, he pushed his father. He was the one that kind of went back to the old demos. They reworked
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, he
Uh,
spearheaded that whole project.
yeah, he
Yeah,
spearheaded
he
the whole.
did.
Yeah, yeah. If it wasn't for him, man, we wouldn't have had this last album, man. You know. Um, and I didn't mind, man, him going back and mining the old stuff. But I had those demos for the longest time. I had those Warner Brother demos, the Gene Simmons demos. I had them bootlegs for years. So when I heard this album, I was like, oh yeah, man, I recognize that one. That what is it? God, the one song in particular, "Blood and Fire," was a song that dates back to like 1984, which was called Ripley, and they kind of took that idea, made that into "Blood and Fire," which is a great song, man. I love that song. Chinatown ripping. I mean, dude, the fire just was back and is playing in this on this album. I will say though, I was disappointed in Tattoo. When I first heard that one, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I was like, I reserved judgment when I heard the whole album. But I think, me personally, I think Tattoo was a bad choice for a first single because I think it killed the momentum of the album, man. It did because the single didn't really do that well. Um,
She's a woman should have been the first single.
that should have been the first one, man. You know, um, I would say either she's the woman or something like I don't know, make Chinatown rips. But
Yeah,
she's the Chinatown
anything but
rips, dude.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
but it's not radio friendly to be the first
it's
track.
not. Yeah, she's the woman would have been a bit more like that. Would have been like
Because people would
Van
have been
Halen.
like, "Oh my god, I never heard this Van Halen song
Yeah,
before."
Van Halen's
Yeah.
back, man. Um, Bullethead, great as is. Honey Baby Sweetie Doll, and Eddie was experimenting a bit on this album too. He was doing like that in the beginning of Honey Baby Sweetie Doll. I was doing that weird like fucking guitar shit in the beginning, man. Um, Stay Frosty, great. Beats Working. Outer Space. That was like another old demo. Um, trying to remember the name of that one. I don't know.
Are any of those demos on YouTube or anywhere? So
Yeah,
people
you
can.
can go
Yeah,
back.
they're all on
Oh,
YouTube.
yeah,
Yeah, you can
okay.
go back and if you listen to the Warner Brothers demos, man, like you'll hear a lot of the ideas from these songs stemmed out of them.
Hmm.
You know.
I might
Um,
take a look. So
and then I saw them on this tour as well, which was awesome. I saw all three tours that they did with Dave. The reunion and this tour, and then the final one. The 2015 one,
Right.
which I can't believe it's 10 years ago already, man. You know, love the album, man. And like Andy said, it goes well with the first six, man. It just picks up
yeah,
where
we could have just skipped 5150 and went right to this album, and
exactly, man.
the world would have been fine.
But that's all I really got to say. Oh, one more thing. Um, I really wish they would have. I really wish they would have brought back Ted Templeman to produce this, though. I think that would have been a nice icing on the cake. The producer they used on this sound was John Shanks, and I think he's worked with like Bon Jovi and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's John Bon Jovi's co-writer since Richie Sambora left,
Yeah,
and he did
and
produce the last couple of Bon Jovi albums. You're right.
and while the production's not bad on it, I mean it rocks. I think it was mastered a little bit too hot, a little bit because if you listen to the CD, it's a little bit on the compressed side. It doesn't breathe like those first six
Yeah.
Van Halen albums. But then again, production techniques 20 years later were different, man. So, everything was like, digital and all that shit. So anyway, I kind of wish it wasn't mastered so hot because when I get like halfway through the album, I get a little ear fatigue because it just everything is so loud. You know what I mean? So, but other than that, man, it's a fantastic album. I can't fault anything else, man. So that's my take on it.
I like Eddie's guitar sound too on this album.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
hell
This is
yeah.
probably one of
Hell
the best
yeah.
sounding guitars he's had on an album, to be honest. I think.
yeah, that brown sound really came back. It was,
Yeah. Stan,
Um, So I think there's a lot of really cool riffs on this album, a lot of cool guitar parts and
Here comes a
i-
butt.
interesting song passages and stuff. Yeah, here comes the butt, but not Andy's butt. But anyway, but there we go again.
I
Uh,
try it once a
I
week and y'all won't let it go.
I I really think what they should have done, because this album feels really bloated to me. What they should have done is pick like eight, nine of the best ideas and really work on those, like making them as good as they possibly can. Because I think the album would have been better off, in my opinion. Um, the other thing is, Ross obviously doesn't have it anymore. I mean, he sounds more like a narrator than a singer.
Mm.
Like even like at parts like there's cool songs like Chinatown,
Yeah.
and then you hear Roth just singing, "It's all happening downtown." It's like, where's the fucking energy, bro? Like you're just not. It's like you're reading off a script or something. It just, I don't know. I think this is like Roth's weakest performance, in my opinion. Um, and and the thing is, like a lot of this stuff does sound like old school Van Halen. Like, you hear it in Chinatown, She's the Woman, and among like a lot of other stuff. But for me, one of the things that's missing is that old atmosphere, which is why I agree with Al when he said they should have gotten Ted Templeman to come and produce it because it just sounds a little too modern, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, I mean, this is 2012, but like part of what makes those old Van Halen albums sound great is the atmosphere. And that makes a huge difference as far as I'm concerned. And like, and I feel like the songs would have taken me like really back to 1982 or whatever it was, if they really like, nailed that feel, like that vibe. Like otherwise the parts are there. Um, so yeah, like I like the some of the songs I like, obviously I mentioned She's the Woman. We all mentioned She's the Woman. Chinatown, I like Blood and Fire. I do like Tattoo. It's not a bad song. It's pretty catchy. Honey Baby Sweetie Doll, I mean, probably the worst Van Halen song title ever. But but it's got some of the coolest riffs, like those like Eastern influenced stuff. I mean, and it sounds so heavy too. Like, I don't know what's it tuned down to. Like maybe what is it, like C standard or something like that. But he's really tuned low here. And I really like the stuff, but the whole spoken word ranting in this song, it just kills the vibe. It's like, come on, man, what are you doing? It's like, I was fucking hard and now I'm soft, bro. Like what the fuck? But and it's a shame. Like I know everyone's happy that Ralph's back, but he's like the weak link on this album.
Well,
It's
he's
just
old. He's older.
I know he's
They can't
old.
expect
I
him to
know
be
he's
like.
old, but the guy's vocals were never really that physically demanding in the first place because it's
Well, they
just
must be because they can't do him now at all.
oh yeah, I guess that's a
That's
good
why he
point
has
too.
four backup singers now.
Yeah,
Well, man.
but again, it's like it's just I just like I said, it's like he's kind of like he just turned into a narrator, and he's just like talking his way through these
I
parts,
kind
and
of think he was always that way, though. You
more
know?
so on this album.
Yeah.
He's kind of like killing the vibe, like come on, man, where's all that energy and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like they should have just picked like eight, nine songs, got Ted Templeman back, and really honed in on that atmosphere, because I feel that plays a big part in how records sound. This sounds a little too dry for me. I don't know, but you know, but again, like there's a lot of good material here, so a lot of good catchy stuff, and beats working. Big River. I'm really glad that Wolfgang actually like kind of took charge of the whole project and really just um, at this point he was still pretty young. I don't know, maybe like what was he like around 20 years old,
something
and the
like that.
guy's like taking on this monumental task of, reworking all these old Van Halen demos with his dad, and he was really pushing him to. I think he brought some of the best out of Eddie.
Yep, he did.
He
So it's
did.
just
This would have never happened without him. So
yeah,
I
it definitely
agree.
wouldn't. And so lots of credit to Wolfgang, and shame that him and Rolf are like having having some beef, but who doesn't have beef with Rolf? The guy's, I don't know, the guy's a loony.
Yeah, he's still friends with Alex, and Alex has beef with him. So to
Well,
know him is to tolerate him, I guess. I don't know.
man,
He-
I just look at it as a family fight at this point.
yeah.
You may love your brother, but you don't necessarily want to hang out with him or get along with him. That's the way I see it.
yeah, I mean, I think that with Rolf is just like you don't know what version of Rolf you're gonna get any day of the week. You know what I mean? It's like the guy's like a walking cartoon. I don't know, but yeah, again, like if they just really perfected eight, nine of these songs, got somebody else, because I just don't like the production. I really don't. I really feel like it just sounds like one huge demo.
It sounds too congested, in my opinion.
It's congested. Yeah, it just needs that
Doesn't
really
have that air, doesn't have that space. When you put on those old Van Halen albums, I mean, you can feel the separation in the instruments and all that. You had Eddie
exactly,
on one channel, you had fucking Michael on the other, and I don't know,
exactly.
it was just so natural. I
It
mean, it was.
and
I think the big problem with Stan too. I think just to interject a little bit here,
yeah,
the way they were, those old albums, they all were in the studio together and they pretty much jammed off the floor. This
yeah.
this was like, Eddie was right. Eddie was fucking probably doing the music and then would send Roth the files and Roth would fucking sing. I don't think they were in the studio together for this album, man. So I think it was just a cut and paste kind of the whole thing. So
And it was Rolf's idea to have John Shanks do it.
yeah,
And I don't know. I mean, I really think they should have just went with Templeman, because he pretty much he was there like George
he
Martin.
was the fifth
You
fifth
know what I mean?
member, man.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, but again, there's like a lot of good, a lot of good stuff here. So I mean, if this is the end of Van Halen, I mean it is, but
I think it's the last great album to go out on,
it's
man.
yeah. I think they ended on a high note.
Yeah.
So
So
I just thought of which cartoon characters David Lee Roth reminds me of. It's like if you cross Daffy Duck with Snagglepuss. Zany like Daffy and, flamboyant like Snagglepuss.
Yeah.
hey, what's going on?
In the
Exit stage left.
chat, in the chat, Michael Lynch says with Eddie's guitar sound, he dropped the harmonizer, which makes it sound closer to the original albums. Love this album.
He's
but,
right.
Agree with Al. It's mastered too loud. Man.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
real quick, because just to reference what Stan was saying about with the kind of system that he was using. Yeah, one of his Wolfgangs had this system. It wasn't a standard tremolo arm. It was similar to like a Steinberger, but modified for like the top of the body of the Wolfgang, so it could drop to any tuning that he wanted.
Oh,
And that's the effect that he used on it. Actually, if you watch the clip of Eddie from 2.5 Men when he comes out of the bathroom and he's playing the intro to As Is, that's the guitar that he used.
all right.
Manny, I apologize. Continue.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I
Two-
interrupt you guys
Two
all the
burritos
time.
and a root beer float.
I wanted to hear that song.
I love the album. I was excited. I remember since high school or 14 or 15, whenever Van Halen broke up, I remember and they brought in Hagar. I remember me and my friend Vanessa said, one day we're going to see the original Van Halen. We got close. We saw him with Wolfgang, and we were there for the first tour. I have a picture of us somewhere on Facebook. How excited we were! You got to see Van Halen.
My God, I was so excited.
That to me was like I was like my Led Zeppelin. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Led Zeppelin, but
yeah, but I understand.
yeah. But to me, it was great. I love the shit out of the album. I like everything about it. I like every song. I like Yeah, the production's too loud. I hate that goddamn thing they used to do back then. But you know what? I don't give a shit because it's awesome. Eddie Van Halen sounds like the great thing is David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen probably weren't getting along, so they're trying to stick it up each other's ass, which is what makes the music wonderful. Um and also they know each other's strengths. And then you've got Wolfgang who knows his father, and somehow I don't care what David Lee Roth says. At that time, he respected that kid because if he didn't, there would be no Van Halen, different kind of magic. Period. He respected that kid because it was great. I mean, even the lyrics are back to are really cool. Fate is my pimp, but she was cool. Said you're doing business with me, honey. What does Matt make you? And then this song ain't dirty. It's just the way I sing it. She's the woman. That's freaking awesome. Who's not seeing a chick and go, my God, she's the woman? This is why David Lee Roth rules. Um, I love every song on there. Yeah, I might have been could have been a little bit shorter, but at the time, I didn't know this was going to be the last Van Halen album. I'm sure if he wasn't sick, we would have got one or two more out of it. I think Eddie Van Halen, as much as he didn't like David Lee Roth sometimes, again, it's family. I think that this was the lineup he was going to bury his band with. Period. If they had gotten Big Effie there back together with Sammy Hagar, they would have probably made a good album, but it wouldn't have been awesome. This is awesome. It's incredible. By the way, that song Tattoo, I've talked about this before. I know it's supposed to be about his uncle, but keep in mind that David Lee Roth is Jewish heritage, and that would have a different significance in the tattoo. And there's a line on there that I was trying to find about his uncle, and
Yeah.
it's supposed to be about the Union, but I think it's really about events that happened in his family that some people did not make out of Germany. That's the way I interpret it. Um, oh, here it is. Uncle Danny had a cold tattoo. He fought for the Union. Some of us still do. That number is forever like the struggle here to win. Also, even though it's somewhat of a serious song, it's got sweet meat Sally, tramp stamp Sal. Wait a minute. Mouse
Swap me.
wife to bombshell. I mean, that's rules. Mouse wife to bombshell. Anyway, I love this album. It rules. Lou, you're up.
By the way, I love it when and She's the Woman, where he just like yells out Casablanca gin joint. I don't know what
Casablanca gin.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but
Man, why don't you
but I
just
always
admit?
I think he's referencing the
Stan,
Casablanca
yeah,
film
yeah,
and the joint that Humphrey Bogart owned in it.
absolutely.
oh,
Stan, why don't you just admit that David Lee Roth is cool as shit, sing wise, talk wise, whatever. The guy's cool.
he is cool. He's just probably unbearable to be around.
He might be, but we don't have to work with him. That's wonderful.
Well, John
I
Fine
mean,
gets
listen,
along with him real
but
well.
can we also admit that you could like both Roth and Hagar and you won't go to jail for it? You know, maybe in
I like
some
them both.
countries you would, but
I
Well,
like I like them both, but
yeah.
I told you how I compare the lineups, don't I, Stan?
Mm.
Van Halen with David Lee Roth is that hot chick that smokes your cigarettes, drinks your booze, sometimes fucks your friends, but you love her anyway. Van Halen with
that's not a
Sammy
keeper.
Hagar. No, but in this case it is. Sammy Hagar, she's the girl next door. Sure, she'll make a wonderful life for you, have dinner ready for you when you get home, may even rub your feet, but she'll bore the living hell out of you. David Lee Roth rules. Go, Lou.
I said something similar before where I said like when I listen to Roth, I feel like I'm getting laid. When I listen to Hagar, I feel like I'm getting married. So,
Or watching
Rules,
someone
dude.
else getting laid while you're sitting in the cuck chair. Anyway, um, I mean, look, like I said, I've given songs from the Hagar era its props. My problem is I just don't like it when Sammy fabricates facts to make himself look like he was the best thing about that band. That's the thing I dislike the most about him. Um, but I mean, I praised 5150, and I said like, one of the best Van Halen songs ever written was Humans Beings. So, there was definitely some gold points in there. But this album, Different Kind of Truth, Man, I was so excited when it came out. I and I wanted to see the tour for this album. Unfortunately, the nosebleeds were like $170. It was like not cheap for Madison Square Garden. And I didn't get around to see the final tour because I was in Greece that summer. 2 nights at Jones Beach, and I missed them both. And of course, the night that they did play New York was the night before my wedding. And my wife said, if you go to that, I'll kill you. I was like, okay, it's our engagement dinner. It's our rehearsal dinner. No problem. I should have booked it for Thursday, but I digress. Um, um, but I was so excited about this album, and my wife did a first day purchase. And for the longest time, I did not put that CD down. And I had an iPod and I had an iPhone, but I was just listening to that CD all the freaking time. And, I couldn't put it down. And I think the biggest mistake about this album was releasing Tattoo as the first single. It should have been the second single. She's the Woman should have been the first, because that song is like a Black Widow ready to bite your head off after giving you the best sex you ever had. And that's what I think of She's the Woman. Granted, you won't be able to live any more nights like that, but still, one's enough. Um, that's a horrible example. Moving right along. The one thing about the reunion with Roth, all credit has to go to Wolfie because it was his idea. He literally told his dad and uncle, "Why don't we get Roth back?" And they called him and they said, "Wolf wants you to come down and jam with us," and it worked. And granted, half the song is old stuff, half the song is new stuff. The old stuff still holds up, and the new stuff is some of the best that they ever did. For me, the real treat about this album is the song Ripley, because I loved that song when I heard it on in the film The Wildlife, and for them to redo it as Blood and Fire,
Yeah.
and just hearing the lyrics, and you can tell Dave is singing about the band, and it just, as a fan, it just made me so jovial. Um, Personally, I think if you ended the album without a space, that would have been a killer ending track. That song just, I mean, it used to be uh Let's Get Rockin'. That's
Yeah.
what the original track, and I love that one, but I love
Yeah.
Out of Space a little bit more. Although it's funny, hearing Dave singing about like environmentalism in the lyrics. I'm like, I didn't know Dave could actually get that deep and entertaining. So it was like a real change for them
Yeah.
with that song. But still, just to hear the band ripping through that song. Bullethead is great, but the real gem of this album is Chinatown, because it showed that they had
Yeah.
not slowed down
Yes.
one bit. I hold this album up with the original Six Pack. So I call it the 40 that goes with the six pack, or the Jack Daniels chaser that you bring with the six pack. The entire bottle, or Maker's Mark, depending on what whiskey you like. Love this album.
Do you
And farewell. Rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the years of great music that you gave us. And thanks to all the bandmates, including the ones that released songs and albums we don't particularly care for. But, without you guys, Van Halen would not have been possible.
Here's a question for all of you guys. If Eddie Van Halen hadn't gone sick, do you think I'm right that he would have continued with the David Lee Roth era, David Lee Roth and
No,
Van Halen? I think they would have made solo albums, at least Eddie, but I think that's what he would have continued.
I'm
What
sure
do
there
you
would have been another Van Halen album at least.
I honestly think he would have teamed up with Hagar, just because Hagar just seems like a more positive, outgoing kind of guy. Like I don't think at that point in their life they want more drama. And with Roth, it's just, I don't know, man. Like the guy's a bit of a, he's
Head
a little,
case.
he's a bit of a head case, and I like to think that maybe Eddie doesn't want to deal with that. Assuming, of course, also if he has beaten his cancer, if he beat all his demons and everything like that, like he doesn't want to invite any more negativity into his life. he just wants to move on and just like make more music. And what better guy to do it with Hagar, because he's like a fucking golden retriever and shit. So like, who wouldn't want to work with Hagar? I mean,
Old Yeller. Yeah,
Um,
sorry.
I, I think for me, and I always think about this all the time. That whole '96 when they got back together, I think it was such a lost opportunity, man. You know, I think
Mhm.
we would have got it. I think had that worked, with the two new songs, and had Dave kind of kept his cool and not rocked the fucking boat and made it about himself with that whole, MTV debacle, and had they held it together, I think we could have got three good Van Halen albums out of that at least. You
I
know,
think so too. I think
Yeah.
so
yeah,
too.
dude. Because I mean, think about it, man. From Humans Being to Me Wise Magic to Can't Get This Stuff No More. Eddie was on a fucking roll musically, man. And I think like a whole album in that kind of vibe, man, would in I'm not saying it would have been out in '96, but my '97 they could have came out had they been working. And they could have went back, in '97 they could have went back and mined like old ideas as well, even back then. I think we would have got like a couple good killer albums out of them, and it would have ended. You would have still had Michael Anthony, you know, but you don't know how it plays out, man. But I think it was just a lost opportunity, man. At that time, it was just it was like the fucking pot of gold. Like when they came out on stage on that on that MTV, dude. If you notice, like look at the crowd, everybody stood up, everybody was going crazy, man. Like
Yeah.
everybody. I mean, from the hip hop guys to the pop people, they were all like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" And it was just like, dude, that was like the right time to hit, and it just fucking went to shit, you know.
Be- because other than Aerosmith,
And Kiss
what
reunited that year, so really it was
right,
kind of whole. It was a whole resurgence of kind of like the rock was
right.
coming back, man.
Other than Kiss and Aerosmith, American wise, hard rock metal, whatever you want to call it, the Doors can't reunite. Jim is gone. I don't know what other hard rock bands are even in the status of those three
Well,
bands in
Metallica
America.
was still going on at that time. Metallica
But
performed at that one.
Metallica is considered a contemporary band, not a classic band like those guys were. So,
Well, in '96, '97, you had bands like Styx reuniting.
well,
Foreigner had only reunited 2 years prior with Lou Graham,
okay,
but that album went
that's
nowhere.
true, Lou. But Lou, they're Foreigner and Styx. As much as I like those guys, they didn't get the kids. Van Halen did, and Aerosmith did, and Kiss did. That's my point.
Then, to be quite honest, I don't think that any other band could have worked because Van Halen and Aerosmith, they were so integral to
Institution.
the upbringing. I mean, think if
Yeah,
you're talking about like bands that influenced the bands that were successful in their wake. I mean, look, I
right.
I, I love Quiet Riot.
I
Okay,
do too.
I love Mental Health. I will forever sing its praises. But let's face facts. When they reunited in '97, I mean, where were they playing? Were they playing the Garden? No, they were playing the Voodoo Lounge in Bayside, Queens, and nudist colonies in California.
And
Quiet Riot's more successful now with just Rudy Sarzo in the band because they're doing all the state fairs and stuff like that, and people are going to see that.
I think
So
a lot of the bands from a lot of those '80s bands now, there's a whole nostalgia
all right.
factor with that, man. They do a lot of them are doing better after the whole grunge. Because let's face it, in '96, it's the alternative, era was still in full effect. A lot of these bands
right,
had trouble getting arrested still. Van Halen was a big enough band where they sustained through that era. You know what I mean? So
you're right.
But
And one thing to add to that though, of all the bands that had nostalgia that was successful more in the '90s, Fleetwood Mac. So it wasn't time for those bands yet to go on the
and Kiss putting
nostalgia
the makeup
circuit.
back on too was big.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, yeah.
But Kiss and and uh, and Van Halen, Aerosmith were already huge, so I don't count them. But those guys, Kiss and Aerosmith. Sorry, I keep saying Aerosmith. Van Halen. Lou brought something up about the MTV Award. People stood up for Van Halen on stage.
That was Al
That
that said that.
or Al said that don't give a flying fuck about hard rock or heavy metal, but they cared about those guys. And Van Halen was probably the only band from that era, aside from Kiss. And I'm not going to say my guy's name, but outside of Kiss, that the alternative kids liked, and alternative bands like Soundgarden, even Nirvana had nothing bad to say about Van Halen, and they said all sorts of shit about every other band that ever lived.
Oh
There
yeah,
was even there was even a song by a group called what were they?
Nerf Herder.
Yeah, that Van Halen, about the original Van Halen. Thank you. I was trying to remember their name. Thank you, Lou.
I mean,
My point
GNR
is
was
that
getting flack at the time.
you,
GNR.
yeah, GNR were, but Van Halen with David Lee Roth, you're right, Al, and Lou, and all of you guys are right. That would have been a lost opportunity, and that would have been printing money basically if they had toured. And I think they would have made 3 or 4 good records after that too. I agree.
Unfortunately, it goes to show you one thing that Kiss had that Van Halen didn't. Smart businessmen.
Yep.
Oh yeah, big time.
Oh yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I totally give you that.
All right. I guess that's it. Anything else?
I'm cool. Thank you so
Oh.
much for having us here.
Mm.
For
Tune
the,
in, tune in next week when we'll do it all over again.
We're gonna do it backwards.
You know, there was one thing I just remembered though, because at the time, 95, 96, UFO reunited with Schenker. That didn't last long because Schenker quit, then came back, then quit again, then came back and quit permanently.
Man, that Walk on Water album was great though,
I
dude.
love that album.
I do too, but
I
UFO.
I remember buying that walk. That's one of the first things I ever bought with my own money. Walk on Water. I
Oh,
remember playing that song Venus to death.
Great
Fucking love.
track.
I
Great
love that
track.
song.
that was such a great comeback album, man.
It was. But as much as we like it in Europe, big deal. Over here, they're playing
Nothing.
medium sized.
Yeah.
So, and that's a band that actually, I believe Edward Van Halen and David Lee Roth liked. So, you know. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Great seeing you, gentlemen. And
Yeah, you
I use
too.
the word gentleman loosely. And you guys have a good one.
All right. Goodbye.
Later, Manny.
Hey,
Later.
Sal, David Lee Roth, Sal. Yeah, David Lee Roth rules. See ya.
Just call me Sal.
I don't know what
I
he said.
did. I did because you don't acknowledge the greatness of David Lee Roth. All right. See
You know, his mother named him Stan. How dare you?
I like Roth. I mean, come on. I just don't have a preference. I like them both. You know what I mean? Like, so,
oh, yeah, I
Nothing
did
wrong
too.
with that, man.
I did too.
Stan, he's a dirty man. Don't take him seriously.
um. So anyway, I wanted to mention that I saw Bruce Dickinson
Oh, cool.
a couple of weeks ago, and I was like closer to the front, and was watching this guy filming the show, and I noticed that he didn't have the record button on. So he's just like pointing.
It wasn't me.
And
You should have
I
went over to him and hit the record button on his phone.
Dude, I personally I can't stand it when people are just fucking recording. Oh my god, it's like I end up watching the show through the fucking like the phone
Oh,
screen.
I gotta move from that. I gotta move myself
Yeah.
from that. Look at the
Yeah.
big
I
stage.
hate when people like they put it above their heads. Like, put it here.
I don't
You
do.
can
I don't.
still get a good angle.
I know my channel has like complete shows on there, but I never hold it up over my head. I never do it to annoy anybody.
No.
I hold it like chest level,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't bother anybody. I don't put it in front of anybody's face, and because I hate that too when people hold over
Yeah.
their heads. Like, dude,
Like,
just
it's
relax.
bad enough that I can hardly see
Yeah.
anyway because
Yeah.
I'm like fucking vertically challenged and shit.
Yeah.
But but anyway,
Did Bruce call him out?
no, but
Oh,
I'll tell you, like Bruce, I
He
said
must
this
have
in
been
the
pissed though when he got home and found out
I-
nothing
I-
recorded.
I said this in the chat. Like I can't believe like how good he fucking sounds. It's one thing to like watch on video on YouTube or listen to a record, but when you see this guy singing in front of you, it's like a whole other experience. And he's like pushing 70, and he sounds huge. He sounds 10 feet tall. He, just he's still got his voice, and
And he
he
beat
sounds,
cancer, man. On top of that, dude.
yeah. And his backing band is so they're incredible. Like everybody sounded really tight, um, and
It
I
must have been
love
a real
that.
treat hearing Flash in the Blade.
Oh my God, dude, the whole place went fucking bonkers. You know what I mean? It's like, everybody was singing that. That was awesome, and he sounds fantastic doing that. Um, he was playing the theremin
Oh
during one
wow.
of his songs. He did a theremin solo, and then he was playing the bongos, and then he was
Oh
playing,
wow.
these like big drums. I don't know if they were, I forgot what they were called, but um, it, you know, it, it's like this is where Bruce kind of like lets loose a little bit, and kind of like steps out of his comfort zone and just that's in Maiden and just does something else. Like like his solo stuff is way more unique,
Yeah.
even though it's kind of rooted in traditional heavy metal. There's something about it, like he's got that it factor that makes it stand out a little bit more.
His past
Um,
couple of solo albums are better than the Maiden albums.
I think so too,
Yeah, I agree with that, man.
and and I don't know. It was a fantastic show, and of course, he came out and did Tears of the Dragon, he did Gods of War, Book of Thel. I mean, whole place was jumping, bro. Like
I
it was
saw he
all.
did Road to Hell. That business sounded great.
Oh, of course, he had to do Road to Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he did Road to Hell. And he ended with Killing Floor, I think.
Killer track.
No, 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 no. I'm sorry, not Killing Floor.
The Tower, you
The
mean, I
Tower, the
think.
Tower, the
Right.
Tower. Yeah.
Another killer track.
Yeah, those guitar players are great. I don't know what the fuck happened with Roy Z, but
Yeah, there's some like real baby mama drama going between those two now.
yeah, I don't know, but but those guys, like those two guitar players whose names I don't remember. I'm sorry, but they sound fantastic, as does everybody in that band. So it's really cool. Like,
I saw Schenker recently. Michael Schenker came to Patchogue Theater, did an entire hour and a half of UFO, and sounded. Schenker still got it.
was he wearing that Russian hat?
Yeah, of course he was with the goggles on it.
With the
And he
dude,
was
how's
playing
he not sweating?
I, I
Like
I don't know. He's
wearing
not
that shit.
human. And he was playing a white Gibson Flying V, didn't change guitars, didn't tune his guitar, and it still sounded perfect. His band sounded great. Wayne, his singer was actually I forget his name, but he's recently sang for Steel Prophet, and he
Is it
was.
Doogie White?
It's not Doogie White, no.
Oh.
And actually, two of his bandmates were from his Macaulay Schenker era, Steve Mann and Bodo Schaff.
Oh,
And
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Lepakis, I think his name is, a Greek German guy. So, but he sounded on point singing the Phil Mogg stuff. I mean, it was all UFO stuff. The biggest treat of the night that nobody expected was hearing Reasons Love and Can You Roller, which was great. And opening the show was I forget the guitar player's name. He's a guy that plays without a pick.
Jared James Nichols.
Jared James Nichols. Thank you. Dude was awesome. And
That dude's a beast, bro.
he
Like
closed
his
with
stature.
he closed with War Pigs. And it sounded amazing. I said, dude, I haven't enjoyed a cover of War Pigs like that since I heard Government Mule do it. And like his face was just like, wow, man, thanks. So
Yeah, he's
I
real cool dude, man.
I asked him, I said, would you be interested in doing a podcast? He said, anytime, hit me up on Instagram. Just very friendly. And I took a photo with him, and I didn't take video though. The only songs I took video of was Doctor Doctor, Wayne. I had to. And I took the first solo of Lights Out. Other than that, I was just there enjoying every song.
Wait, Eric
Oh,
Gronwall is the singer, right?
No, in the European dates.
Yeah,
Oh.
Eric can't leave
He doesn't leave
Sweden.
Europe.
He
He
can't leave
doesn't
Europe because of his cancer.
Oh shit. So you said that the guy who's singing now is what, like a Scottish guy, or like, I'm sorry, a Greek guy, right?
A German guy with a Greek name.
A German guy with a Greek name. Okay.
But
Can't
he was good. I mean, he didn't sing over the top. He sang on, he was he was in the cut. He was great. The entire band, both bands were great. So it was nice to see an actual concert where you can enjoy the opening act and the headliner. And I'm done. Wayne's bored. Good night,
I'm
everybody.
just tired. It's
Bye.
been a long day. But
Severed Angel, new album. It's out. Why haven't you bought a copy yet?
yeah, why haven't you
Listen,
bought a copy?
listen to this Van Halen album. Don't listen to this one.
Yeah, but more
Yeah.
important than those, listen to this album from Severed
Yeah.
Angel. So
Severed
when
Angel.
eternity
Oh,
ends.
and then go to roxrecords.com and go pre-order the new Absalon album. It's coming out on Halloween, and you can pre-order it now. And it's a really good album. Very heavy. It's the heaviest album that we've done so far. So definitely check that out.
And featuring a new member, from what I heard.
Yeah, I guess so.
Who could it be?
Well, it's not me.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not him, but no, it's Mark, our keyboardist from Severed Angel.
Yes.
Nice.
He is now in Absalon, unfortunately.
You guys are just like recycling members.
Yeah, I get. Well, because we're the only people that anybody can rely on. You know,
Yeah,
I
that's
did so
true.
many things with other people.
Which, brother, would somebody call me and pay me to play on their album? Okay, I'm good. I can record my own stuff.
One day.
I'll play polka. I don't care. Even though, like Paulie said, nobody likes polka.
All right, that's it.
All
See
right.
you guys next week. We may have a guest. I'm not sure yet. I'll talk about with you guys in a few minutes, but if not, we'll still be here.
Thank you for having me on, man.
Yes, thanks, guys. Al,
Black
and
Good to
Spinner
see you
Circle.
guys.
Cheers, gentlemen.
we'll
Always
have
a
you
pleasure.
back soon.
A lot of fun.
Yep.
Cheers, everybody.
Bye
Later, man.
bye.